Good morning. Welcome to Matenar on air. Jane Matenar, Greg Bach, the surgeon of sound, Calvin, is on the board. You can always join us at 844-967-2789, 844-96.
Party.
Leave a message on the live stream. Apparently, the big place to party on the live stream is on YouTube or Facebook.
I guess so. I think we get all of the live stream. All of the live streams come into one.
Into one merge?
Yeah, no one's on Twitter right now.
It is what it is.
Ex-listeners.
Very excited to have our next guest join us. Big news coming to Portage. A startup manufacturer is coming to town. They are going to build a battery plant in order to make batteries from hemp. The Wisconsin Battery Company is a research, development, and manufacturing company owned by Sustainable Communities Corporation, and their CEO is joining us right now, Jeff Green. Good morning, Jeff. Thank you so much for taking time to join us today.
Good morning, Jane. Thanks for having me.
Well, this is really exciting news. We have many, many questions. How does this even work? I'm sure I will understand all the intricacies of the science, Jeff, but for other people,
Yes, of course,
who are listening,
for the other fools
who may not grasp nanotechnology and stuff.
I've seen Endgame. I've seen Marvel movies.
Maybe you could explain it.
Yeah. So in another universe,
yes,
we take.
Sweet. You got me, Jeff. You've got me.
No, seriously, though, Jeff, it sounds very complicated for us non-scientific people. How does this actually work?
And I'm an economist. I'm not a scientist. So I'm going to try to teach from an economic perspective, not a scientific perspective. Because when the scientists talk to me, my eyes glaze over.
Too.
As well.
That's good to know.
So essentially, hemp carbon is when you take hemp bast, which is the, let's call it the trunk of the hemp plant, and strip it and burn it, it becomes carbon. You burn anything, it becomes carbon. Easy technology. We take that with some patented technology that our scientists have come up with and create essentially a solution that replaces graphene or graphite. So if you're familiar with graphene or graphite, it's a storage, it's basically an expensive solution to storage. The lithium part of the battery we're looking at, because the hemp is so amenable to storage, we can use sodium instead of lithium. So that's the new technology as well. So we're really embracing new technologies and new processes in the battery industry that really hasn't changed since Burgett Technologies came to Wisconsin 100 years ago.
Jeff, the lithium and graphite, are these becoming increasingly difficult to get?
Yeah, so lithium is generally mined in countries that don't like us. So that's the biggest problem we're running into right now. And you're going to hear from all of the EV manufacturers, they're going out and buying lithium mines. And that's, just an end game that doesn't work in Marvel or anywhere else.
Nice.
So, I mean, hemp is something that's been around for eons, right?
Yeah. Hemp's been around since 5,000 years based off of, some reports. It's been around in the Chinese market since before the U.S. was ever even conceived.
But then there was from what I understand, and if I'm wrong, please let me know, Jeff, that there was a big crackdown, though, on hemp. Wasn't there? There was a lot of opposition to using hemp for different things.
Yeah, back in the 20s, Harry Anslinger and the U.S. government decided to criminalize and racistly, work with marijuana and hemp and tie them all together as a single plant. And in some respects, their genus species is the same. So it's not like it was complicated. The paper industry and the criminality of using marijuana against the minorities was kind of all tied together so that big business in the United States could continue to use wood pulp for paper instead of hemp and stuff like that.
It's always about money.
Always.
And fear, and using fear to get there.
Yep. Fear and money. Yeah. Two of my favorite things, fear and money.
If you're just joining us, Jeff Green is our guest. He is the CEO of Sustainable Communities Corporation.
Actually, I'm president of Wisconsin Battery Company.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Wisconsin Battery Corporation, which is owned by Sustainable Communities.
Right.
And they're going to be bringing this hemp-based battery plant to Portage because they just saw a big loss of jobs there. Correct, Jeff?
Yeah, well, Energizer announced that they were shutting down the Portage and the Fenimore plant about a year ago. A good reporter found out about it about a year earlier than Energizer wanted to announce it and put it out
Jeez.
into the media. So we found out about it and kind of harassed Energizer for the last 6 months to try to work with us unsuccessfully. And now we're just trying to wait for them to go away.
And so, how long is it going to take this to get up and running in Portage, and hopefully give some of the people who lost those Energizer jobs new jobs?
Yeah, so in Portage, we have a firm timeline. We are going to do our groundbreaking on April 23rd, and we should be up and running by Q1 of 2025.
Wow.
That's wow.
So, yeah, we're going to really launch quickly. And our hope is that we're going to probably do some assembly of some batteries that we're working on at UWM in Milwaukee and get some of the fringe batteries that we're working on up and running first. The furnace that we're going to be buying to basically cook this hemp is a $1.4 million machine. So it's not, there's a pretty big barrier to entry for batteries, and it's continuing to go. We've got a $50 million grant at the DOE that we've applied for. We've got $40 million in industrial revenue bonds that are going through the system. We should be getting that money presumably around June or July. And that will give us the funds to kind of get up and running. We've already gone out and started collecting resumes from all of those Energizer employees that are open. And what we're trying to do right now is bridge that layoff period to start period with Madison College and Southwest Technical College in Fenimore, some training programs and some education programs so that they can not have to either move. I mean, in the case of Fenimore, there's really nothing else. They would theoretically kill that community if we didn't come in there. So we're really diligently trying to buy the Energizer plant in Fenimore so that we don't have to build. Building in Fenimore would take 2 years.
And I'm sure be very, very expensive as well.
Correct.
On that topic, what kind of retrofitting do you think you're going to have to do in let's start with Portage with the technology you have to make the product? Is it a tear down and start over, or is it like is there enough goodness in that building, good bones to use that to start up the operation?
So we're going to build from scratch in Portage. We've
Okay.
got a 100,000 square foot facility that we have designed and we'll be building starting in April.
Gotcha.
So that is 100,000 square feet that we are going to make as our showpiece for international travel and things like that. We've got some African leaders that are planning on coming to Portage to see our technology. We've got a contract pending on a kind of a new technology in the Kiki or tuk-tuk. If you're familiar with the Far East, they use these smaller framed vehicles. And in Nigeria, there's one that is being run on solar power with a battery. And so we're redesigning that battery for more efficiency and then going to launch that in Africa. And we think that's that along with our industrial battery that we're going to launch, which includes artificial intelligence for bringing energy into the grid, will be the two things that we really start with, because those are both assembly. But when we start manufacturing from bill of materials, those machines are very intricate and will take sometimes 40 to 50 weeks to design and build. So we're trying to balance having something we can do quickly with something that we can do long term, or both.
Jeff Green is the CEO of the Wisconsin Battery Company, which is owned by Sustainable Communities Corporation, and they are bringing a battery manufacturing plant to Portage that is going to use hemp. You had talked, Jeff, about some classes being offered so people can get up to speed if they want jobs in this industry. What kind of backgrounds are you looking for? What kind of skills?
Obviously, if they've worked for Energizer, they've got a lot of the skills that we want.
Yeah.
The tool and die guys, the quality people, the inventory people, the line workers. We're working collaboratively with the Teamster organization. So there are a few people in management that don't want to participate with us, and we've wished them well in whatever they choose to do. But generally speaking, we're coming to support the community and be a union shop. We're not going to try to break a union.
That's excellent to hear. Now we made some jokes about before about hemp and its reputation and its history. Are you getting any pushback from anybody with old world ways, their thoughts of hemp, and what do you think you're doing? What are you trying to do here? Or is it pretty much a progressive viewpoint from what you're trying to achieve?
I coming at it from being on the flower side or the cannabis side of the plant on a previous company, we got pushback there. But on the fiber side, or what we're calling the plant side, I'm not seeing a lot of resistance. I was at Whole Foods the other day, and there's hemp herd in Whole Foods. So I really don't think that we're going to see any issues with what we're doing here. Now, the CBD and the cannabinoids of the plant are really what's getting pushback.
Yeah.
And a lot of it comes from ignorance and misunderstandings.
So just to clarify, we will not be smoking these batteries after we're done with them.
No, that's not the way to recycle.
I don't know, Jane. Have you ever been to Florida? That's no.
We just want to make sure that we're clear about all the specifics about this.
How often are you asked that question? Like, hey, can you smoke batteries, man?
Well, it's funny.
That meant a lot. That answer meant sound meant a lot.
Jeff Green is our guest. He is the CEO of a Wisconsin battery company, which is owned by Sustainable Communities Corporation. Jeff, do you have time to stay with us for another short segment?
Sure.
If you have a question for Jeff, you can text it at 844-967-2789. Leave a comment on the live stream. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, stay close. This is Matenar on Air, coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network.
What else to do about it?
Good morning, and welcome to Matenar on Air. Jane Matenar, Greg Bach, Calvin on the board. You can join us. Call or text at 844-967-2789. Leave a comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Very happy to be joined by our guest. He is the CEO of the Wisconsin Battery Company, a company owned by Sustainable Communities Corporation, and they're coming to Portage with plans to make batteries, but this time out of hemp. So, Jeff, you did mention that it's a union shop. It's going to stay a union shop. How many jobs? Right. How many jobs are we talking about ultimately, do you think?
So I think we're going to start up with probably around 50 to 100 in each Fenimore and Portage if we are able to accomplish that. And then over the next 5 years, we're expecting to ramp up at about 100 a year. So we expect 500 to 600 over the next 6 years.
That's great. And these are family sustaining jobs. I think it's really important for people to recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously technology is moving forward. And so we're trying to stay with the times of making sure that Wisconsin stays a battery state. I mean, Wisconsin's been a battery state since batteries were created.
I did not know that we had a long history.
Beyond the cheese.
Beyond the cheese. We're always trying to highlight things in Wisconsin that aren't just dairy products.
Yeah.
I did not know that we had such a long history of batteries in Wisconsin.
And some of the most prolific battery scientists in the world are in Milwaukee.
Boom. Come at us, other battery state. I don't know. I have no idea. We got two questions on our text messaging line, and I want to ask them both. They're kind of they're in the same category. One hemp batteries are they recyclable? And also, are there any rare earth metals needed to produce hemp batteries?
So we are finalizing our bill of items on all of our batteries right now. So whether or not there's any sodium, I guess technically is is one, but sodium is so massively present right now. It's not anything that we're worried about. But we're trying to eliminate, lithium. We're trying to eliminate graphene. We're trying to eliminate the things that are problematic.
Well, and again, as you mentioned,
so
unfortunately, those mines tend to be in countries that are not necessarily friendly to the U.S.
Right. And as far as recyclable goes, we're going to try to actually create a lithium-ion recycling plant on the same property. Wow. But right now, Ukraine, I don't know if you know this, but Ukraine was the world leader of fertilizer. And so with the war in Ukraine, fertilizer has actually gone up. I don't know if you've looked at fertilizer lately, but it's doubled in price. And that's not just, Home Depot jacking the price on you. That's Ukraine having some supply chain issues. And so we're looking at ways that we can turn this lithium into fertilizer, because your plants like lithium. And, that's part of the overall big scheme of what we're doing. The outer shell is still going to be metal, and we can recycle that, obviously, but you can recycle anything, but it all has to come down to economics.
Sure, it's got to be cost effective, right?
Right. And Dr. Chu our scientist has a method for recycling that prior to Ukraine going into war was not cost effective. Now it is kind of very tightly cost effective, but that's assuming that Ukraine never comes back and becomes, a fertilizer supplier again. And that's not really something that I expect. So I think that it's just a dangerous situation right now that we've got to economically figure out. We want to recycle batteries. That's not, it's certainly within our mission, but making sure that we do it effectively. Daycare workers, we're trying to put subsidized daycare in both of our factories as well. Both subsidized daycares and recycling are both non-profitable.
Jeff, that is so wonderful. Subsidized daycare within the facility, and as you said, it doesn't generate profits. But good heavens, we've been talking about this since 9 to 5 came out with Dolly Parton and Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. I mean, that was a intrinsic part of that movie. And it's 2024, and we're still so far away from it. Mm-hmm. Why is that important to you to include that, Jeff?
Well, I mean, the daycare industry financing fell off a cliff federally over the last year. So what you're finding is young workers, and we are attempting to bring a pension program back into the market as well. So, what? To do a pension, you've got to have a balance of young, middle, and older workers for it to work. And so, being able to hire younger workers early in their family, if they don't have daycare that's affordable, they can't work, or only one of them can work, and that's going to be counterintuitive to what we're trying to accomplish. So we are also putting together a incubator program for our retirees, so that if they want to go out and do something afterwards, they can get educated on how to do that as well. So that's we want to basically have this as a generational business.
Jane, are you hiring? I'll be up there in like 4 hours.
I was trying to find.
I don't even have children.
I was trying to find a keyword that I could just throw at Jeff and make it sound like I actually know what I'm talking about when it comes to batteries. Oh, nano sheets.
Good
job, Jane.
You want to talk carbon nano sheets, Jeff? I'm the guy.
My nano sheets have a thread count of.
If someone is listening and they would like to find out more, or possibly apply for a job, or find out about training opportunities and stuff, Jeff, where should they go?
So our email is work@winbat.co, and that's where anybody that wants to submit a resume should do.
Okay.
Winbat.co is our website. That's going to be drastically overhauled over the next 6 months. But right now, at least, it's a 4-pager that keeps all of our media in one place, and you can contact us and find out more about what we're doing. The groundbreaking, obviously, is April 23rd in Portage, and I invite anybody that wants to show up to be there. We're expecting some pretty high profile political people there.
I would imagine so. Everybody's going to want to claim a piece of this.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm assuming that Portage has been really open to working with you.
Oh, amazingly so. The mayor, as well as the entire council, have been fabulous to work with. We've got a call tomorrow on the industrial revenue bonds. I don't know if you're familiar with that form of financing, but the city has to approve it. And getting a city to approve a industrial revenue bond is not something that just anybody can do. It's something that they have to believe in and want for their city. And obviously, we got unanimous support a couple weeks ago. So
such exciting news! It's wonderful, and thank you so very much for joining us, Jeff, and explaining a little bit better how this is all going to work. I hope we can have you back on after the groundbreaking.
Absolutely, anytime.
Jeff Green is the CEO of the Wisconsin Battery Company, coming to Portage and a battery near you. News is coming up next, and when we return, 5 what moments? This is Matenar on Air, coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network.
Charge me up.
Welcome to Matenar on Air. So very happy to have you along with us. Jane Matenar, Greg Bach, the Calviente on the board, coming to you live from our studio in downtown Waukesha. We love to hear from you. You can call, you can text at 844-967-2789, 844-96. Or leave nice PGs there, or leave a message on the live stream if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
I gotta say, the live stream's kind of quiet today.
They deserve a day off. There's usually a big party going on the live stream.
I know.
They have lives.
What do we do?
We were talking about the bipartisan Senate deal that dropped on Sunday nights about making a deal for the border and other aid to Israel and Ukraine. And of course, now that they finally got what they want, the Republicans don't want it anymore. It's like, no, we don't want this, even though it includes a lot of things they've been begging for, including beefing up border security as a condition to give more aid to Ukraine, a tougher, faster asylum processing system so that those who don't meet the criteria don't get to stay and work for years as their cases go through the courts. It hires more people for customs and border protection, huge investments in fentanyl detection technologies, just all kinds of things that they have been screaming for. And no, we're not going to do it. We don't like it. Mainly because Donald Trump doesn't like it because he wants to run on this as an issue.
Well, the question I also have too is, what universe was it? Is there where the Democrats said, give them everything. Give them everything.
Give them what they want.
Throw it on the floor. Let's see if they go for it. And that's what the Democrats basically did. They said, here's everything you want. And let's do this.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want it now. Oh, you don't want it now. Oh, good to know.
This is Nancy Mace, Republican, on Fox News, of all places.
The lady who wore the A.
Yes, the A. Commenting on this border deal.
Have you read all 370 pages of this bill?
We are
That would be no.
working through it. We have about 50 pages more to go, but from what we can tell, and I'm going to put forth a statement once we finish reading the bill, the measures that we feel are extremely undesirable, that keep our border open, that water down the asylum system, it's not good for the
Well,
country,
they say
quite
exactly
frankly.
the opposite. That's why I'm asking, and obviously Senator Langford and his colleagues, worked hard to negotiate something. It's hard to do some actual negotiation, and they say no new asylum claims would be allowed. Anybody crossing would be removed.
Based on
over this
what-
Benford. Hold on.
Yeah.
And he said, it ends the whole idea of I made it to U.S. soil, and now you have to process me. It increases detention beds, doubles the deportation flights, and adds $650 million to expand the border wall, which is the same language and funding that's in H.R. 2. So, isn't getting something better than getting nothing? Because this problem isn't going away.
They don't care.
That was Fox News.
That was Fox News.
Not MSNBC, not CNN, not your liberal hippie uncle's newspaper. That was Fox News coming at Nancy Mace.
Yeah. We asked the question about whether or not this will make a difference for people who are not decided yet on which way they're going to vote come November. Jim from Appleton texting in, listening in Green Bay on WGBW. Thank you, Jim. Will it be a big deal? That all depends on the Democrats. They need to beat this drum loud and long, like the Republicans do for their talking points.
Absolutely. And also Andrew says YouTube live chat is way better than Facebook or Twitter.
Oh, that's where the cool kids
I
are.
guess I thought we got all of it too. So that's fine. All right, cool. Have your fun. What's also just a little point of order for those who are like, well, it's 350 pages. If you've ever seen a bill come out of Congress, a bill from Congress is about I think it's triple space on a piece of paper.
Oh, really?
And it's about half to 2/3 of the page itself. That's for notes. So if you want to do addendums, if you want to add notes in there.
That makes sense.
So when you see when you hear 350 pages, if you do that single or double space and use the entire page, it's much less. My point is they had plenty of time to read it, because when they get these bills, they have an army of interns and lawyers reading these things.
It's not like
there's
Nancy Mace
no reason why there should be 50 pages left over.
Yeah, it's not like Nancy Mace is sitting down and reading this entire report by herself, because she's not.
No, she's making custom-made T-shirts as a symbol that she's read a book.
This will be an ongoing thing. The other really interesting piece about this that I think folks need to know is that the Border Patrol Agents Union, and there is such a thing, and they have not been big fans of President Biden.
Yeah.
They have come out in favor of this bill. This includes things that the Border Patrol agents
That's
want.
amazing.
And yet, House Speaker Mike Johnson appeared on Laura Ingraham last night and implied that the reason why this union, Border Patrol Agents Union, has endorsed this bill is because they get a pay raise. That was his response. Well, yes, I understand there are some, he said, essentially, I understand there are some pay incentives in there. So, and they had a go, Johnson and Laura had a good chuckle about that.
Sure, brah. Sure. Yep, you get a pay rise. Oh, boy.
If you want to join us, you can always join us at 844-967-2789, 844-96.
Party. A really quick question. We had a comment on the live stream that says, ye have little brains. Is that us? Is that me and you? Do we have little brains? Or do the people we're talking about have little brains? I'm so confused.
Be specific.
Thank you. Specificity is key here in the live stream.
All right, we're going to move on.
All right. You know what I love, Jane?
What's that?
I love freedom.
The freedom to change our minds. The
Freedom to change our minds.
Change in midstream.
Freedom to strap in for some freedom. Sometimes I don't want to strap in.
You want to unbuckle for
I want
freedom.
to unbuckle for freedom.
Unbuckle for freedom. Absolutely. I bring this up.
Sounds like a country music song.
It does. Write that down.
Unbuckle for freedom.
That'll be a huge hit.
Yeah.
That'll be a huge hit. While speaking to a group of voters in Columbus, Ohio this week, Republican Senate candidate Frank LaRose brought up how much he dislikes seatbelts and the sensors in cars. Galvin, I believe we have a sound clip of the seatbelt overreach Let's take a listen.
The point that you're making about this sort of insidious, incremental desire for control over things, purportedly with good intentions, sows the seeds of disaster.
Well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, is the old saying, right? Allowing the federal government to control your vehicle is a very bad idea, right? I mean, I don't even like the how automated a lot of things are in cars these days, like the little bell that rings if you decide not to buckle your seatbelt or whatever else. Like it goes too far.
As someone with a uterus, it is remarkable to me that having to buckle your seatbelt is government overreach. But determining what medical procedures I can get in order to save my life, that's okay. But the ding, ding, ding of the seatbelt bell is too much.
Well, someone who has a deuterus, I think this guy's an idiot. That first of all, the bell goes away. I know that because I've heard it, it stops ringing after a while. You'll be fine. Just wait. Second of all, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. This isn't good intentions. These are solemn decisions to keep people safe. You don't want to buckle your safety belt? Fine. You can incur a ticket. You're gonna have to pay it. You can get into an accident. You can get hurt, or that the road might be paved with your brains. So this is a man who truly has nothing to stand on. He has no other issues that I guarantee you his website's terrible.
So it's just a general government overreach. Booga.
Yes. The government's coming to take away your guns, your unbuckled safety belts, and your children.
And your gas stoves.
They're going to turn them into gay, trans, seatbelt lobbyists who work for anti-NRA groups. And that's what government does every day of our lives.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration points out that in 2021, there were 26,325 passenger vehicle occupants who were killed. 50% of those approximately were not buckled up.
And I will say to that the same thing that I'm not going to name names. Someone I know who was dating a person who refuses to wear a seatbelt.
That drives me crazy.
They said to me when I asked, why don't you wear one? It's my choice if I want to die. Or it's my choice if I die, that's on me. So that's what that dude would say. Frank LaRose would say in the face of that information. Well, you know what? I still want my choices. I still want my freedom.
Yeah, I think there's about 50% of the population in this country that also would like their freedom.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, 51%. By the way, there has been some clearing up. Sherry Minozzi, not us. She loves us. We are not the ones with little brains.
It depends on the topic and the day.
It's very,
Sherry,
very true.
But we appreciate that.
And also, I didn't think about this too. We got a question from Andrew from Maine. No discombobulation today. That is going to be moving to Friday.
Yes.
Dan will be moving to Friday, same time, 10:30 to 11. We just have made a switch. Forgot to mention that. Thank you, Andrew, for bringing that up. But Dan is going nowhere for now that we know of.
Yeah, he'll be joining us Fridays, moving forward from 10:30 to 11 o'clock for a recombobulation area.
Exactly.
Right now, call or text talking about government overreach and seatbelts. I remember when the whole seatbelt debate began. I grew up in an era where you did not have to buckle up.
Back in those days, you could drink while driving too, couldn't you?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. We had big metal dashboards, and so you go flying forward and you hit
Just
that.
drive slower.
It'll be fine. Senate candidate in Ohio, major government overreach by forcing us to wear seatbelts.
Yeah.
Seatbelts saved an estimated 14,955 lives in 2021 and could have saved an additional almost 2,600 people if they had been buckled up in 2017. Again, that's according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
I guess the question I have for Mr. What's his name?
LaRose.
LaRose, where do you square your, because there's no way he's not pro-life. Where do you square that then? How pro-life are you? Is it just the baby, or is it,
Well, then what do we need car seats
if
for?
Why
do we have car seats?
If you're pro-life, I think you're pro-safety belt because that's going to keep you alive.
But
That
it's
was
about,
safe.
but it's freedom.
You're right. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. I forgot. This was about freedom. I am dumb. I am ye of little brain. Freedom. I didn't mean to.
Step on your freedom.
I didn't mean to step on your freedom.
And one thing I did see, and I do not know if this is accurate when I was looking at this yesterday, and it went across on Twitter. If you are an EMT or you have experience in that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
I saw one guy who's claimed that he knows an EMT who says he has never picked up a dead body that was belted.
Wow.
When they respond to accidents, usually the person who is deceased was not wearing a seatbelt. If you want to clarify that for me, because again, I saw this on Twitter, and I know everything you see on the internet is true. But if you just, if I'm wrong, please, call me out. I have no problem with that. 844-967-2789, 844-96.
Party. Triple G Greg Wansnyder getting in on the live stream saying, I always drive with my seatbelt on. Just thought you guys would like to know. I make sure my passengers are wearing their safety belt. So do I. I don't move my car unless they put their safety belt on.
Oh, everybody's buckled up when I'm driving.
When I drive as well. So who wants to take a ride with me? And he also says, in fact, I have a perfect driving record. Who else can say that? Well, I can't say that. So thanks for the brag there, Greg.
844-967-2789. Karina, I see you on the line. Stay with us if you want to check in on this, talking about seatbelt government overreach. Oh, my.
Overreach 24.
Overreach 2024. You're listening to Matenar on air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. Good morning. Welcome to Matenar on air. Thank you so very much for joining us. Jane Matenar, Greg Bach, Calvin on the board. You can always join us, call or text at 844-967-2789, 844-96.
Pasty.
Or leave a message on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're talking about Frank LaRosa, U.S. Republican Senate candidate from Ohio, talking about government overreach because of seatbelts.
Because of seatbelts.
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 I thought we'd had this argument
back in the 80s.
30 years ago, and kind of decided we're going to wear seatbelts. But according to Mr. LaRose, this is enormous government overreach. And as a woman, I find that hilarious. Karina has been waiting on the line. Thank you for your patience, Karina. What did you want to say?
Too, Jane. When I heard it from you guys start talking about it, I felt like my teeth start scratching. I couldn't involuntarily. I'm like, overreach. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Right. And who owns my uterus? Please explain to me.
Right. I'm saying nothing right now.
Owns my uterus. This is, but I know what I want to say about the buckle ups and stuff. Well, those, rich people and, who are talking, I'm sure they are buckling up because they all have a life insurance and they know perfectly well if you die without the belt, the life insurance will not going to pay
I didn't
off.
know that.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, because it's a suicide technically. You know what are you doing? You're doing it on purpose. Most of the
Interesting.
life insurances, most of the auto insurances are not going to cover you if you have if you
Seatbelt.
had an accident.
Small price to pay, Karina, for freedom.
Thank you so much, Karina. Really appreciate you checking in. Always appreciate you listening. Andrew from Maine with some clarification. I asked if anybody was an EMT and what their experiences had been responding to car accidents. Andrew says, as a former EMT, yes, you can't be killed wearing your seatbelt. I don't dispute that at all, especially if your car goes under a trailer, but you do have a much better chance of living if you are belted.
Mm-hmm.
Much like non-smokers, those people still die, but you're going to have a better chance of living longer.
Yeah. And Greg Wansnyder wanted me to bring this up too, triple Greg Wansnyder. It's worth pointing out to your listeners, he was the one who talked before about making his friends belt in, that he's blind.
Legally blind.
He's
and Greg
legally
has been
blind
on this show many times.
Yeah, he's legally blind as a quick public service announcement. And we also got a wonderful text from Carmela. Since freedom is the word this hour, I'll quote Eleanor Roosevelt. True patriotism springs from a belief in the dignity of the individual, freedom and equality, not only for Americans, but for all people on earth. Thank you, Carmela.
And texter from the 262, listening here in Waukesha, WAUK. Don't forget, we all pay for the no seatbelt boys through increases in our insurance rates and crowded hospitals. I just didn't think we were still having this argument about the government stepping on my freedom because I have to wear a seatbelt. That's just loony to me.
I'm trying to think of other passe, you're on my freedom yard, not my freedom backyard, that someone could bring up now as like a campaign point, like seatbelts. It's that's like a retired jersey. That's like someone saying like, I want to play for the NBA. I want to play for the Chicago Bulls. I want 23. No, buddy, that one's gone. We don't talk about that one anymore. It's good. You're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Just let that go.
Yeah. Let it go.
Just let that go.
Let it go. Let it go.
All right. We started off the hour with this, and we will end the hour with this. A federal appeals court today rejecting Donald Trump's claim that he is immune from prosecution for anything he ever did while president, including trying to overturn the 2020 election. He is expected to immediately appeal to the Supreme Court. The justices could make a quick decision on whether or not they will hear the case and then fast track a ruling. Trump has until February 12th to appeal before the lower court can act again.
I just want to see them. Just imagine knocking on the door like, hey, it's your buddy Trump. I'm here. I want immunity. And there's like, oh, sorry, we're having a meeting. Sorry, it's not a good time. It's not a good time right now.
Leave a message at the desk.
Yeah.
Leave a message with the secretary at the desk, Donald Trump, and we'll get back to you when it's convenient.
Yes.
This will be very interesting.
Yes. Agreed. We might know in the course of a week and a half, 2 weeks, if they
February 12th.
If they say
we're not
no.
taking it. According to the ruling, for the purpose of this criminal case, former President Trump has become Citizen Trump with all of the defenses of any other criminal defendant, but any executive immunity that may have protected him while he served as president no longer protects him against this prosecution, which seems pretty reasonable.
I mean, I know that the president enjoys certain immunities while in office. I can't sue him for making my wife leave me because she likes him now, but I could sue him when he becomes a regular person.
Citizen.
Yeah, at this point, no. Mm-mm.
And if we remember Mitch McConnell, and we talked about this not too long ago, shortly after January 6th and the attack on the Capitol, his whole reasoning for not impeaching Donald Trump in that second impeachment was because this will be handled by the court system when he's out of office. And that's where we are. And anyone who argues that the president should be completely immune for eternity, put that same immunity on a president you don't like.
Yeah. Just for clarification before we kick out, are we giving him the same immunity that we gave Aaron Rodgers? Because he's immunized too. See what I did there? I ended on a joke. You're welcome.
Thank you, Greg Bach. Very excited. When we return, we're going to be talking about hemp batteries.
Yeah.
You heard that correctly.
Not two separate things. Those are one thing.
They are one thing.
Hemp batteries.
Hemp batteries, a startup manufacturer, is coming to Portage. Going to be building hemp batteries. The Sustainable Communities Corporation, their CEO, is going to be joining us after 11 o'clock. So many questions, Greg Bach. So many questions. Stay with us. This is Matenar on Air, coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network.
When I'm home, everything seems to be right. When I'm home, feeling you holding me tight, tight. Yeah, it's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day's night. I should be sleeping.